Hi, welcome to Mind and Body Wellness, a TV show where we talk about the wellness of your mind, your body, and your spirit. I'm your host, Clovis Colley, and today in the studio with me is my very special guest, Tony Veland. How are you, Tony?
I'm doing pretty good, Clovis.
Now, Tony reached out to me, and we were talking about some financial planning and stuff, and as well as being a championship football player, you're also doing some financial planning these days.
I am. I work with a company called Heritage Financial Services. I've actually been in this business for about 15 years now, and basically got into it because, I mean, let's be honest, we all toil every day, that 8 hours every day to produce money so that we can pay our bills and hopefully fund our retirement. And while I was playing in the NFL, I saw a number of individuals that were mismanaging their funds. And one guy in particular, and most people don't understand this, when you're playing in the NFL, you only get paid during the season. So you get paid pretty much from September through December. Well, this individual was making, well into six figures, and by the time May came around, he was completely broke. And so I saw that, and I was thinking,
having some fun.
Yeah, he was doing a little more than having fun, and that was a problem. But when you see that, and you see someone who has those types of assets, and they have a problem managing it, then you have to think about, what about the lay person, the person that's making 40 to 50,000, has 2 or 3 kids to take care of? How are they really getting by? And so after seeing that, and just kind of having just a general, desire to want to know what's going on in the marketing world, once football was done, I kind of put two things together and said, you know what, maybe I can cut out the middleman and see if I can help people solve this equation of life.
Right. And we were talking before the show, we were just talking about how you kind of got on the path to excelling at things, and as well as being a champion in the football world. You also had a pen-like game that you were very good at before kindergarten.
Yeah, and it's crazy that I can remember this, because this was probably when I was 3 or 4 years old, considering the couple of concussions I've had. But my mom got me an educational toy when I was younger. And it's not like today where everybody is on their iPhone or the iPad or anything like that. And you had these little flip charts, and they had questions. And you basically had 3 different choices that you could put on there to answer the questions. And they had this special pen, which was this big silver thing, and it had a bulb on the end of it. And when you put it on the right answer, well, it lit up. And I'm 3 years old, and I get that thing to light up, I feel like I'm doing something right. And so when I get it and it lights up, I'm smiling, Mom is smiling, I know I've done something right, and I know I'm making her proud. And honestly, it just kind of mushroomed from there, because ever since then, when I would go to school, I tried to do my best. When I was doing, whether it was school or sports, whatever the case may be, I wanted to make sure that I was representing my parents the right way, and it just kind of grew from there.
Sounds like you had a good family life.
I did. I mean, we didn't have a lot when I was young, but I had a mother and father who loved me dearly. I had siblings who were there, and they showed me that family was important. They showed me that achieving was important, and they showed me that treating people right were important. And so, I basically grew up on those ideals.
Good. So at what age did you really start getting into football and finding out that you had a talent at it?
I got into football, organized football, my 7th grade year. And that was the first time I'd ever played any organized sports, and I played for a neighborhood team called the Raiders. And I wasn't like a main guy or anything like that. This was just me filling out if I could actually play the sport. And I used to play wide receiver, and I remember one game we were playing against kind of our rival team. I think it was Phil's Foodway. And I ran a route. It was a little slant route, and the quarterback threw me the ball, and I caught the ball, and I juked probably 3 people on my way down to about 70-yard touchdown. And from then, I thought, maybe I'm okay at this.
A star was born.
Yeah, well, I don't know about a star, but I tell you, something inside me said, I can do this. And it just grew from there, and I went to high school and performed well there, and had a chance to go play in Nebraska for Coach Osborne, and for a great team that, I felt like I was a decent athlete, but I don't think anyone necessarily deserves to be on the type of team that we were on. We won a lot. We were blessed with great coaches and great talent, and it was just an amazing time in my life.
Well, it was a good time for everybody in Nebraska football. Yep. And then you got picked up by the Bronx, is that right?
I did. I got picked up by the Broncos, and that was, in essence, a dream come true that, honestly, I didn't even know that I had that dream in me. I had been playing with or watching NFL since I was 3 or 4 years
Sure.
old. But I never thought I'd get a chance to play there because honestly, in high school I played quarterback. And back then, you really didn't see too many black quarterbacks, and you never saw any running quarterbacks, and I was an option guy, so I never thought I'd get there. But through the process of playing at Nebraska and going through a number of injuries, I changed from quarterback and went to defensive back, and all of a sudden a whole new world opened up to me, and next thing you know, I'm being invited to All-Star games as far as a Hula Bowl, and then I have agents, calling and knocking at the door, and something happened. I didn't know what to.
You didn't expect it.
I didn't expect that at all. I really didn't. I just wanted to go to Nebraska, compete, and be as good as I can possibly be. But I didn't know if I was ever good enough to make it to the NFL. And things turned around, and basically what ended up showing me is that if you just continue to do things the right way, you work your butt off, then good things can happen to you.
Right. Well, I've met you a couple times and had the opportunity to talk with you, and I just think you're a fabulously cool guy, and you're just a very laid back and interesting person, easy to talk to.
I appreciate that. And fans know I did not pay him to say that.
Well, I've just enjoyed our conversations, enjoyed having lunch with you. And you called me about some financial planning, and we'll get to that in a minute. But we were just kind of talking just about the different things that a person needs to do to excel a little bit in life. And you told me, I didn't know that you were part of an organization that helps younger people. Tell me the name of that organization.
The name of the organization is the Teammates Mentoring Program. It was a program that was started in 1991 by Dr. Tom Osborne. When I actually got down to Lincoln in 1991 and was part of that inaugural crew that went, I can't remember the exact elementary school that we went to, but I thought it was, really visionary for him to think that here I have this huge platform. And Nebraska football was pretty much revered in this state. But what else can I use it for? What else can I do besides just get people excited about football that would actually better the community? And I think he just realized that with everything that was going on in the community, that it's hard to raise a child. It's hard to raise a kid. There's that whole saying, it takes a village. Well, in my opinion, this program is a way for the village to kind of come to the rescue, where you actually set aside an hour a week and you go inside the schools and you establish a relationship with the kid and you just try to guide him to make good choices. And it's really, in its bare essence, that's really what it is. There's really no regimented script or anything that you have to follow. It's just you finding a way to connect with that kid so that they can talk to you, you can talk to them, you can be kind of a sounding board, but when it's all said and done, we want to make sure that you're guiding them to the right things, graduate from high school, graduate from college, staying away from all the craziness in the streets. And so I ended up joining this organization 4 years ago, which, crazy story, and there may be some people who know that in my past year, I think it was 2011, I was shot. I was actually sitting in a parking lot, just on my phone, and somebody randomly just stops in the middle of the streets and opened fire. And luckily for me, one bullet ended up hitting me, but I'm still here today to actually tell that story. But going through that, it would have been very easy for me to say, I'm kind of done with youth. I'm kind of done with urban youth, because I noticed that it was a young person that was actually firing the gun. They never found this person, or whatever the case may be. But I felt like I could have gone one of two ways with that incident. I could have, said,
you could have been very hateful.
Yeah, very hateful, very angry. I'm not dealing with the kids anymore. Or, which is really what happened, I just looked at myself in the mirror and said, are you going to be a part of the solution or part of the problem? Which one is it? And I felt like there's plenty of people out in the world that are talking about, look at these kids, where their parents thought they need to do better and things of that nature. Well, I wanted to be one of those people that was stop talking and actually, started to help. And so I knew that this program was available, and in my mind, when you look out at the news and you see what's going on in the community, instead of talking about it, try to help. This is the way for you to actually take on one person and try to change their mindset, and not necessarily make them a robot or anything like that, but it's just like, listen, there's better ways to do things. And I feel like if you can reach one person, that person, if he's doing the right thing, has influence over a lot of people. And so that's why I joined the program and why I love it today.
Well, yeah, I believe you're right. One pebble can make pretty big rings in the pond, so to speak.
Right.
And that's a very cool thing. Now, how big is this program? Is this just within OPS, or is this statewide?
This is actually statewide. This is actually statewide. We actually have it in Iowa and also in Kansas as well. So through the Omaha chapter, 'cause I'm actually the board, I'm actually the chair for the OPS chapter board. And we have, I want to say, about 500 kids that are matched right now, which means you have a kid that's matched with a mentor, and they meet inside the schools 1 hour a week. But there's obviously a huge need. There's obviously a huge need. There's so many kids out there that have this need. And we're not talking just about at-risk kids. We're just talking about kids in general.
Right.
You know,
right.
you could have somebody that could be a manager of a store, or they could possibly be a CEO if they have someone like you actually guiding them. So, you know, we're asking people to donate if possible, if you go to www.teammates.org, or to actually be a mentor and actually, you know, share your talents, share your life experiences with these kids, because, you know, they need them.
Right. Well, you know as well as I do, when we were growing up, the family unit was still a lot more cohesive than it is now.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you know, the structure of the family is just not what it used to be.
It's not. And honestly, I think that's why this program is much more important now than it was back then, because family values are down. Dads being in the home is down. You know, you've kind of taken, you know, religion out of schools and out of homes. So what do kids have to believe in? You know, what authority are they really, you know, looking up to and respecting? There's not much out there. And so if you have, you know, one-parent home, or even a two-parent home where the parents are working all the time, where nobody's there to kind of feed into that kid. And so this is just another way for, you know, you to be able to come in and not preach at kids, not lord over them, anything like that. It's just another friend that has been through some things, and they can kind of tell them, you know, kind of the right and wrong way to go about things.
Right. Show them some good ideas, show them some good values.
Exactly.
Tell me a cool story about something that's happened there, where you've seen a younger person achieve some success because of the mentoring that's been offered by this program.
Well, my first mentee was a guy by the name of Freeman Coleman that actually went to Miller South, and he was a senior when I started mentoring with him. And you know, just kind of over his year, you could kind of tell that this is a guy that likes to talk. You know, everybody likes him. He's a really popular kid, and he'd kind of tell you what you wanted to hear when we're in the meetings. But I would always sit down with him and just kind of be real and be like, listen, you know, it's great to have people like you, but it's better to have more people respect you. And so you need to start doing the right things. And so it took him some time, and he ended up graduating and going on to, I want to say it was Northwest Missouri or something, someplace like that. Well, in his first year, he made some bad choices. Ended up going to another school. I want to say it was Santa Monica, and I could be incorrect there. But he went there and started making the right choices. Well, turns out he was doing good in school. Turns out he was actually doing good in football. Their team actually won a championship. And now he's getting ready to head to Kearney in the next this following year now. So it just shows you that you can have influence on anybody out there. And it may not be, they may not react right when you want them to, but if you're feeding into them, at some point, you know, they start to listen and it starts to click. And it kind of happened with him, and I'm just glad that I could have been a part of that.
Yeah, it's got to be very satisfying
It is.
to help somebody else out.
It is,
And you know, it's a selfish world now.
Right.
Everybody's, even if they're not selfish people, they're on their phone, they're on this, they're on that.
Right. It's about
and
me.
it's everybody's kind of turning inward, and I like that you're reaching out to other people, and I think we need to get back to that just a little bit, and set the phones down, and come out of the trance.
Right,
And
I agree.
now you're a financial planner. That's part of your college education. Did you go to school for finances?
Actually, I did not. Actually, I went to school for engineering and business.
Okay.
And I got 3 years into engineering and 2 internships, and decided, I don't want to do this. And so I was able to, I had enough credits to actually get a basic degree in engineering, and I would have to take another discipline. And so I decided between law and business, and just went business because it's so broad. But really, me getting into this business had more to do with being in the NFL and just kind of noticing what was going on.
Right. And you talked about maybe, in the beginning of the show, some people, you know, being getting a
Bad
big
stewards.
amount of money
Yeah.
right up front and then not being able to manage that very well. And that's, that's a trap a lot of people can fall into pretty easily.
Yeah, and definitely. And I think I got more of a respect for it, once I was actually in, and then actually looking just at home in my own personal situation as far as my mom, because I lost my father when I was 16, a junior in high school, and so it was really my mother that was taking care of us. Well, she had to take care of 3 kids, and at that time I think she was only bringing home like $35,000-$40,000. And so once you're actually older and you have to start paying some of these bills, you start to think back, how in the heck did my mom do that type of thing? But I know that even during those times, she could have benefited from talking to someone about how to manage her finances a little bit better, and about how to make some better choices. And that's, when it's all said and done, that's really what I want to do for people. There's just, people get so caught up in life, and everybody does it. Regardless of what you do, whether you're a doctor, a plumber, whatever the case may be, you realize that there's this planning that you need to do, but hey, this job needs to be done. I've got to take care of this with my kids, and so that kind of gets pushed to the side. Well, it's kind of my job to come in and bring that back to the forefront and say, listen, if you don't get some of these things in order, you're kind of gambling with the next 30, 40, 50 years of your life in retirement. And the government's not trying to take care of you. They don't care if you make mistakes, and you should. And so I just try to make sure that I'm really implanting that in people's minds, that you have got to start looking out for number one and start paying yourself first before you start paying some of those other bills.
Sure.
Creditors.
And I think most of us know time's our biggest friend when it comes to planning for retirement. And are you mostly doing retirement planning, or is this do you do some short-term stuff also? Or?
We pretty much do the whole gambit. At Heritage Financial, we pride ourselves being able to offer the full financial planning scenario for people. So whether you're doing short-term planning or whether you're doing retirement planning, whether it's insurance planning, we're here to kind of bridge the gap, so to say. When people kind of ask me what I do, because of my football background, I like to liken it to a coach. I'm the person who's kind of the coach who's going to bring together the team that is going to accomplish whatever needs you need, whatever needs that you have, and to actually fulfill your goal. And so, if I'm not an expert in one particular area, maybe you need long-term care, maybe you need life insurance, maybe you need estate planning. All those issues actually encompass your full global plan. And I just want to make sure that if there's something that people don't have taken care of, that I'm actually offering it to them. Now, do they have to do business with me? No, they don't have to. But at least I've brought it to their light, brought it to their attention, and if they decide not to do it at that time, then that's their choice.
Now, what would you say to young people that maybe have a really good crack at getting started early, and could really leverage their, like I said, time and really get a good start on?
Well, honestly, it's just building a habit. So it's not about necessarily how much money you put away. You even said it before, time is your biggest asset when it comes to investing. So if you're sitting down with someone that's relatively young, most of those guys don't have a lot of money, so they don't feel like they have a lot of money to put away. But even if it's $10, even if it's $20, $30 a month, once you develop that habit, then that's going to be really the saving grace that you need, because as they get older, as they get better jobs, they're going to make more money. That's just going to happen. And as long as you've got that happening, now that 30 turns into 100, maybe then that turns into 200, 500, so on and so forth. So if I can really drill inside their head that if you get this money working for you right now, it's going to be a heck of a lot easier for you to retire the way you want to, then I think we have a real chance of doing some business.
Right. What was Albert Einstein said one of the most amazing things in the universe was compound interest.
That's right. That is right.
So maybe he was smart enough to start when he was 18 or 20.
I don't know if he was or not, but I know that was some great wisdom. Hopefully more people would actually take advantage of that.
Right. What do you like about doing the financial planning and the different aspects that go along with that?
You know what? I like it because when it all boils down, I just like helping people. I like helping people. I think there's a bad perspective or a bad connotation when it comes to people in the finance world or in the sales world, because they feel like you're not really out for their best interest. But for me, I do teammates because I want to help kids. I coach at Northwest because I want to help kids. I work in this job because I want to help people. And this is a big problem that people have to deal with. Retirement is coming whether you like it or not, bottom line. And most people need an individual that's actually in this every single day to help them make good choices. Now, can someone go out there and do it by themselves? Yeah, they can, but they're going to have to spend some time and actually learn about the products that are out there, learn about, tax consequences, learn about estate planning. And most people just don't have the time to really devote to those types of things. And so the people who don't, they hire someone like me or use, someone like me as far as my services to actually take care of those type of things. And when I'm doing that, I know that I'm doing something that's big. Because again, people work every day to make what? To make money. And what do you do with that money? Hopefully you're not just spending it on crap. Hopefully you're putting some away so that once you decide to actually retire and kick up your feet, that money will actually be able to take care of you. So in my mind, not only am I just helping people, but I'm helping people take care of themselves and their families, for generations to come.
Now, I liked what you said, and I think that's a really key ingredient. Of course, I want my financial planner to really love helping people more than
himself,
than making commissions off me.
Right.
But it's Nebraska Counseling and Hypnosis Center. When I have somebody coming in and they want a little help with hypnosis for sales, or one of the first things I talk to them about is I think number one, to be successful in business, you have to be, if you're out there for the dollar, you're going to fail. If you're out there to give service, it seems like overall, long term, that you're going to be much, much more successful. Do you agree with that?
I do, for the most part. I mean, I can't say that I don't know a lot of people out there who they just want to make money. And there are some people out there who are just really good at sales and they do it. But I think long term, that doesn't work, because long term people start to see through that. You can kind of tell, well, most people can kind of tell if you're sitting down with someone, whether someone is genuine and whether they really care about, what your concerns are, or if they really have an agenda that they're trying to push on you. And I'm not that individual. Yeah,
I can tell that about you. That you are genuine. You're a real genuine guy. And what would you tell to somebody that's maybe in the middle of their life that hasn't done such a good job with their financial planning and maybe has to play a little bit of catch up?
Well, the thing is, it's never too late to start. Bottom line is it's never too late to start, and we can still go back to that scenario where time is your greatest asset. If you're not retiring tomorrow, then you still have some time to do some things today. Let us sit down and let's talk about, how do you want to live in retirement? How do you see yourself living? And let's see if we can come up with, this is how much it's going to cost, inflate the numbers back, and see if we can still make that happen. Now he may not, that person, because they've taken so much time to actually get started, they may not be able to retire the way they want to, but they're not going to be destitute either, as long as they start to put some things together. And you just have, when it's all said, and you have to be real with people. I don't try to sell people any crazy dreams. If you've kind of messed around for the last 30 years and you got 5 years before retirement, I'm not going to come and tell you, oh, come work with me, you're still going to be a millionaire, you retire the way you want to. No, you have to be straight with them. Well, you made some mistakes, so we're going to see we're going to try to do whatever we can to make amends, and if we can't make amends, then what is that lifestyle that you can adjust to? And start making those steps right now, as opposed to, okay, I've been living this way right now for the last 30 years. I'm retiring tomorrow, and now I got to completely change the lifestyle. You really don't want that.
Well, sometimes we can get, just froze up with silliness. Yeah. I got plenty of time. It's too early. Well, I still got some time. Well, it's too late, so I'm not going to do anything. Yeah. And we can find all kinds of excuses to get in our own way. And sometimes, well, I suppose it happened on the field and things like that. And in your life, sometimes you just got to go and you just got to do it.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to do it. I mean, and that's a crazy analogy that you said, because that actually really happens on the field. Now, I played a defensive back. So my job is to react, to try to stop the quarterback and the running backs and the receivers from scoring touchdowns. Well, if I'm backpedaling and I see a play develop and I'm just hesitating all the time, thinking I have plenty of time, I'm going to miss the play. I'm going to miss a
Right.
tackle, and next thing you know, they're going to be striking up the band because it's going to be a touchdown. Well, I mean, it's kind of like that within the retirement world as well. You know, as long as sitting there thinking about things and not actually taking some action, make some things happen, and your financial plan is not going to come to fruition. And so that's what I try to get. I get to try to get them to act right now, you know, if we can, because it's just going to pay off more dividends in the end for you.
Right. Well, they say the road's full of squirrels that couldn't make up their minds.
There you go. Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
Do you miss playing football?
I love it. I love it. I don't think I've done anything in life, to be honest with you, that has been as exciting beyond, you know, the birth of my kids. That's probably about it. But I'm also at that age to where now I realize I can't move like that anymore.
Right.
So now it's only in the mind. I'm not out there trying to mimic any of that stuff anymore.
Yeah. What do you do to make up for that part of maybe your sporting self that?
You know, I coach.
So you get to fill in that way.
Yeah, that's how I get my fix. That's how I get my fix. I've been coaching for a while. I used to coach for the Omaha Beef. I coached for them for about 7 years. I've been coaching in high school for the last 3 years. Now with Northwest High School. I was with Concordia High School for the last 2 years. So just a chance to kind of give back, you know, some of the gifts that I had been given. Trying to teach them little nuggets of wisdom about, you know, what to look for, you know, how to attack these problems, you know, the same lesson that I learned back in Nebraska, which are great life lessons, I try to teach them as well. And so that's, in essence, how I kind of get a little bit of that football fix. But I don't know about the competition part. I don't know if I ever get that back.
Yeah, that's got to be, that had to be an amazing time in your life.
Yes.
And not everybody gets to compete at that level. And I'm sure that comes out in your, that level of competition and wanting to be, always striving to be better comes out in your performance as a financial planner. We're down to about 45 seconds. Tell us how people can reach out to you and make contact with you if they want to do better in their financial life.
You guys can give me a call at 402-558-6860, Heritage Financial Services. If you want to send an email to www.heritagefinservices.com. We'd love to sit down with you. There is no cost for consultation or anything like that. And again, this is just about me trying to bridge the gap for you for things that you haven't done.
We got to go. Thanks. Brought to you by Nebraska Counseling and Hypnosis Center. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Got any material that you can